Hello, 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 my beautiful friends. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Angels Don't Lie. I'm so excited to be here. So today on the Angels Don't Lie show, welcome. We are going to be talking all about you and how your body remembers. It's a very big topic, so I'm really excited about it. We are going to be talking about how your body remembers. And this is a really big conversation because it's been coming up in healing sessions. It's come up in my own personal life as well. And it's touching on things that I'm really excited about because they're things that are going to be coming up in my new book that I am slowly working on. Excited about it, and I hope that you guys will be excited about it too. But we're going to talk about those things about trauma and the things that kind of stay and land with us, and we don't even know that they're really there.
When she smiles at you, she'll say, angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. No, no, angels don't lie. Angels don't lie. No, 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 no.
So if anybody is listening on the podcast, if you're listening on YouTube and you want to join our Angels Don't Lie community, and in the copy below the video, we're going to put the links for that as well. We are also going to put the link for a fabulous free offer that I have. It is what I'm calling my Angel Mediumship Third Eye Masterclass. It's a beautiful experience that you get to go through at your own pace. I'm really proud of it. So I feel like anybody who's watching that wants to go through that, you're going to love it because one, it's going to up level your energy. So that's what I'm going to tell you about that. And today I'm going to actually be meeting with my Soul Shine group, which is another experience. If you guys are ready for that next level, if you're ready to tap into your pure potential and have that personal guidance, have me as your person that you can lean into, ask the questions, go a little further, do some cool exercises, the Soul Shine group is for you. And so if you want more information, you can send me a chat. I have that available right here on the live version. And if you're watching or listening afterwards, you can send me a personal message at my email at jeannie@jeannestreet.com. So how does your body remember? I've talked about this before on the show about our pain, the experiences that we have early on in life, the big ones, the ones that we might not even remember the full bounty of. How many of you have had experiences that you know have happened, but you're not exactly sure? You don't have the full memory of it, but you're like, I just have this feeling that something happened to me in my childhood. I have this feeling, but I can't get that full memory up. Or you got the memory and it just keeps replaying. And you just keep having the same experiences over and over. And so what we're going to do today is just kind of discover, like, why are we repeating patterns? What's happening in your life that these things happen to repeat? So first, your body remembers because it has been designed to remember. Your brain has been wired to replay and remember. So habits and belief systems that have been taught to us and implemented early on in our life, good, bad, or otherwise, those are set on repeat. So you may want to be different, but you fall into the same pattern over and over and over again. So, why do I even talk about this as a medium, as a healer? Because the one thing that comes up in sessions when I am channeling a departed loved one is they are no longer in pain or suffering, and they are showing accountability for who they were in life. And then they're guiding me to lead their loved one in the direction of healing. Always. So I say it's my specialty. It's because it's where I go, and they know this. So they will jump in, our departed loved ones will jump in to say, like, here's this energy, here's this this information that's really going to serve my person. So maybe I should use a personal example because this might be helpful, right? So I was doing a reading for a lovely, lovely woman, and in her session, and she actually was working with me in private coaching. And during this session, her mom came through and she was talking about all of the angst that her daughter had, all of the angst about stepping into her purpose fully. And though she was doing a lot of the work she felt like her soul is here to do, she had a lot of defensive energy, and she wasn't making the strides where she wanted to be. And so she was internally suffering, replaying the energy from her child, replaying kind of, even though she had made, I'll say, like, we'll do this, we'll make peace with the things that have occurred, but she hasn't necessarily healed them because the body kept remembering. And so emotionally, she was responsive from that little self. She was being responsive from her little self. So the body holds that energy within our chakras, within our meridians. And so when we don't have clear memory of things that have happened in our life, this is a big telltale sign that energetically we can't get past where we are. Though we seem to make strides and do things a little differently, everywhere we go, there we are, we're the same. It's like, wait, why am I not evolving? Why am I not shining? Why isn't that pure abundance that I saw for myself coming to me? Why do I feel so low vibration? Are you with me on this? Who's got that, right? So when we have trauma, the thing that happens in our body is it stores within our organs and our energy centers or meridians the memory, the imprint of it. And at the same time, we separate a piece, depending how big that trauma is. We separate. It's called a soul fragment. We leave a piece of ourselves behind, and we are then trying to maintain the semblance of safety within our body, within our life. And so depending if that was a really big happening, that was a really big thing, you might have blocked it out for safety reasons. You might have reacted to it in a way where you started to lower your frequency to fit in, to be unseen, so that you wouldn't cause any more of that trauma to happen to you. You might have felt responsible, like you weren't good enough. And so that trauma was happening to you because of that. You might have looked at the adults and been like, what are you, crazy? But knew you had to manipulate the situation with your energy in order to, again, like not be seen or be in their presence so it wouldn't happen to you. Very interesting things that happen here, right? So the body recalls it. Just like if you guys exercise, if you've ever been one that lifted weights and exercised, well, your body remembers. Like you fall off a bike when you're little, but you get back up and you start learning it. And once you do it, you always can go back to it. You're like, oh, I can ride a bike again. Once you haven't been in the pool or in the ocean in a long time, but you swam when you were younger, you get back in and it takes you a few minutes, but you remember, your body remembers. It has emotion to it, has memory. And so that your muscles remember and the fibers in your body remember. Same thing with trauma. So what happens when we meet up with other people, because we're human, and so we're energetically connecting all the time, and most of you here are sensitive beings, and so that means you're sensitive to energy and you're picking up those feelings and you're feeling those feels, and they're triggering those emotional wounds over and over and over and over and over again. So your body remembers. The body is remembering. So what can we do? What can we do? What is the safety measure here? So I want to talk about some things that you can do. I want to offer you some yumminess, some things that you can do to start to recall who you really are, to start to remember all of the yumminess of who you are. But we can't remember until we transcend and go through this. And this is what the dead tell us. This is what our departed loved ones tell us, right? They say, you have to go through it, and I'm going to help you go through it. I'm going to be here for you. I want to love you, and I want to remind you that you are safe to remember, you are safe to release. Sue has a question. I have a friend at the doctor's right now. Is he okay? Sue, we're looking for a little kind of tap in for your friend. So let me just see what the angels have to say. Hold on one second. So they're doing this swirl, this chaos energy around the top, which is my sign for, this kind of like a lot going on. And that chaos energy also like lets me know that there are things he has to figure out, because when I see that, that means that there's some drama in their life, right? So I get some anxiety, I get some stress, I get some worry. Um, but that's a big loaded word, okay, isn't it? Like, is he okay? So yes, he's okay. Yes, he's safe. Yes, there are some things that are circling about, but I think it's going to be an opening for a great healing to come forward in terms of spiritual connection and understanding oneself. That's what they keep telling me. So I hope that makes sense. Lori is asking, the more I work on me, the more of a hot mess I become. I know it gets worse before it gets better. However, this is different. I feel like I'm swirling back around. Lori, I thank you for even putting that in there and admitting it, because one of the biggest things that happens as we do heal, as we start working on ourselves, is first, Shmigo, and Lori, I know you're in the book club because you're going to love this. Shmigo comes on board immediately to say, what's happening? I don't want this to happen, because if you start healing, you're not going to hear me. You're not going to be my puppet. And so Shmigo is pissed off, right? And that rocks everything. So then that's the dedication, right? Also, because we're transcending things that might not be in your full awareness, memory of pain and suffering, that's going to take energy to release. So while you might feel worse, the support is the thing that's the most important during this time, because that is when we'll give in. That's when we'll throw our arms up and be like, wait, this is too much. But I always say this in my angel healer training. I say to my healers, like, the stakes are high here. The stakes are really high in that God is ready for you to stand abundantly with him in service, in his grace and his protection. And by you healing and showing up and doing that work, well, that means that you're saying yes. And so again, the stakes are high. So what is Shmigo going to do? He's going to pull the rug out from underneath you, make you feel like you are unsafe, unworthy, or that there's so much more for you to heal. Make sense, Lori? Yeah. And anybody else that kind of resonates with, like, let me know, because that's a huge thing. And it's a resistance that will come up where we won't want to go forward, because who wants to feel bad? I don't want to feel bad. It does take being vulnerable and brave to continue forward, though. It really does take some energy. And I know you've got it. I know you have it. So don't be afraid of it. And let's talk about some things that you can do, some things that are really supportive for the body as it's releasing energetic trauma. And you don't have to remember it all. That's the other thing I really want to say, guys. Like, you don't have to follow the trauma to the backstory, because the more you do that, the more exhausted you're going to be. If you are searching and remembering, you're not in the now. We really need to be in the here and now. This present moment is where we're going to get the healing, not by replaying. So while talk therapy is amazing and I love it, it has its time and its place. When you are here in this part of your journey, other therapeutic modalities are really important. Somatic, I'm not sure if I'm saying that, somatic healings, I want to say, rhythm healings, things that are going to start working with your senses and energy centers that are going to release. So trauma release is what we're looking for. So therapies such as EMDR, therapies such as tapping meridian points and acupuncture on meridian points that are going to open the flow and help that energy to really channel outward, and so that it's processed. And sometimes you don't even need to be aware that you are channeling it out. It just kind of happens. Guided healing sessions. This is another thing. Like, I've gone for these, guys. I've done all of this work myself, so I would never give you something that I haven't tried. I haven't tried EMDR, but I know other people in my circle, very, very close circle, that have. I've done different types of therapies. Hypnotherapy is another amazing tool for rewiring our brain, for building the new neural pathways and understanding the new feelings that we want to have so we don't repeat the old ones anymore. Those are great. Those are my top. So I'll tell you from my angle, like as a healer, what I do with trauma people. Someone comes to me with grief and loss. I'm like, okay, let's do that reading. And they end up staying around. They end up, most times, I'm going to tell you, like 9 times out of 10, someone comes to me for a reading because they've lost someone or they're in deep grief and they haven't been able to get over. And they end up hanging out with me longer, either in a personal coaching session or within one of my programs, because this is my specialty. This is where we can go in and really hone in. So we come for the one thing we think we need, which is to hear from a loved one. Boom, beautiful. We'll channel that loved one through. You'll have all those beautiful messages, and then the healing comes. The healing comes in, you receive that message, and here's the message of how to move forward, how to navigate through this challenging time that you're in. That's where we have to pay attention, right? Because again, resistance will come up and we won't necessarily want to do the things. We'll put other things in front of the healing. Big one, financial. We'll be like, I don't have enough money. I can't do that. That's unfeasible. Boom. That's always the stopping point for so many people, especially women, because we're givers and we give and we give and we give and we give, and we're like, I don't have enough for this. But this is the one thing that's going to stop all the other chaos. So, girl, I'm going to tell you, that is the one thing you have to lean into and say, without a doubt, this is what I need to do for me. Because if you are healthy, everything else is going to line up. If you are healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, everything else is going to line up. So in my healing sessions, in angel coaching, I like to blend the healing and the connections in those sessions. We'll go through things such as working with singing bowls, vibrational energy. Vibrational energy, such as a singing bowl, is going to open up the meridians internally. So my angels have taught me, like, we have this internal waterway. We have this the system of flow, right? So we think we're made up of water and we have blood and we have all this energy within. Well, that makes sense, right? That's how they show me the central nervous system. When there's a disturbance in the central nervous system due to a past experience, due to an imprint of trauma, or guys, even karmic imprint can lead that there. That's what we need to start to settle down. But where everybody wants to go, where we tend to go, is not internally to the heart center and starting to calm that down. We go to the thoughts. We go to, this is hard. This is blah, blah, blah. These are the stories. We go to the mental. And that's what stops us from really healing. So we have to get into the heart center. And so that's what the singing bowls for me start to do with clients. Starts to open up their heart center, starts to open up that flow. And so they start to have a remembrance of their truth. And that can freak some people out. That can really freak some people out. They'll be like, oh, that was too different. That feels too good. One of the other things I really love to work with is my angels will always are guiding me. So let's make that clear. Let's just point that out, right? God pops in. My angels are always here. Jesus will come in. Like, this is holy healing. So I'll be guided to use tuning forks. And tuning forks can be put directly on a meridian point, directly on a place where I get that sense is this is a hot spot. And that begins to open up. And yes, this can be done virtually, by the way. It can be done virtually, which is a kind of a mind-blowing experience. How do you do a tuning fork when somebody's not with you? Well, you can do one of two things. You can use the tuning fork with the essence of their energy in front of you. You can use your body as the placement for that person. And as you are connected with them, you start to release it. And so you go off the feelings of what's happening to know that that block has been awakened and starts moving and starts flowing. So I like to see them as like streams, like flowing, like, oh, that feels really good, right? Um, aromatherapy is another beautiful way to get into the senses, because it's the senses that are holding all the memory of this trauma, this emotional wounding. So sensing, such as like my Palo Santo, I'll use burn Palo Santo, and all my healers out there, this is an awakening. Palo Santo will awaken your senses, so you start to feel like you are lifted, and you are. You start to change the frequency, so that's how you start to feel better. And you can remove that energy, remove, like, start moving that block with the scent. So it starts the same flow. You start seeing that river kind of energetically flowing. So there's really cool stuff, right, that we can experience during these healing sessions. It's amazing. It's amazing. Hypnotherapy for me was a breakthrough. Like, loved it, right? So yeah, I do my own healing sessions for myself. I'll play my singing bowls. I'll grab my tuning fork when I have pain. My favorite way to hop into a healing session is coming into a meditation. Coming into a meditation, sitting still with myself, and then releasing and dropping into my heart center, and just merging into the veil where immediate healing happens. When we get out of the trying and the thinking something's wrong all the time, here's where the miracle happens. It's like, bam, right? Does this make sense? So you guys, you have the ability, because we're all healers in essence. We're all intuitive. We are wired this way to remember God, to remember that we are here having a physical experience, but we are spiritual beings. And being a spiritual being means that you can evolve. You can open your soul up and awaken to more. But because our bodies physically remember the pain, that's where we stay into I want to say, like, an entrapment. I want to say it's like it boxes us in, and then we can't get out of our own way. We get boxed in by certain things, right? We say this about religion, right? We get boxed in. It feels like it's closing in on us, right? We don't like that. Well, social media can start to box us in, and we're like, oh, I don't like that. I gotta get off social media. Well, your pain, your experiences can also box you in, and they can be replaying and replaying and replaying, and then new relationships come in, but they have the same tone, or they end up in the same yickiness as other things that you've experienced, all because your frequency, your vibrational energy is lower, all because there's things that haven't healed that need to heal. So you can't fake it. I always say this, like, we want to have abundance. And so how many of my people, like, love going for law of attraction stuff, and they start looking and they're like, yes, yes, yes. And it's like, it doesn't work. Law of attraction doesn't work for me. This was me. Because you have to go with the law of your soul. You have to lean into, what are you here to do? Who are you as a soul, as an essence? And if that pain is replaying and you are unworthy and you are self-sabotaging and you are reliving pain all the time, and that trauma isn't exiting your body, well, yeah, you might be able to attract something really yummy into your life, but it's not going to bring you joy or happiness. And maybe that's not even your thing. Maybe it doesn't even matter to you. Maybe you just want to feel better. Maybe you just want to feel better. How many people just want to feel better? Just want to be better in this moment. I'm going to tell you, the honest way to do that is by opening your relationship with God, by starting to meditate and be in your being, to understand your intuition. And this is my why for creating that free class that I was telling you about, for the Awakening Your Third Eye class. Because when we start awakening our energy centers, something really interesting starts to happen. Our body starts to shift. Our mindset starts to shift. Because we want to logic it all up. So we're going to read some books, and we're going to do this method, and we're going to follow this. But really, we have to start to learn to work with our body's rhythm, to move in alignment with our soul, not to backtrack and go into our past stories, into the emotional wounds, right? But that's what's on repeat right here. So we want to come forward. And so let me just slow down even more. So when we're going this way, when we're going backwards, right, all that energy is flocking inward. And that's what causes the disturbance in the flow of our waterway. Basic, simple. And so autoimmune issues, bing, 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 right? Our metabolism slows down, bing, 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 right? Depression, bing, bing, bing. We start to feel internal suffering. There's already so much in the world. Like, that's a painful place to stay. A painful place to stay. When we start our rhythm to go forward, right? We're releasing this forward motion means trauma is releasing, pain is releasing, everything is starting to flow. And no, it's not about the recall of the memory that really matters. It's that the emotional wounds become flow, not stuck energy. So you can be very present in this moment and start to really embrace your healthy, wealthy, and wise energy. That's what this is about. I hope I explained this in a way that really makes sense and that it really serves you in the highest level. So let me just turn to you guys to see if anybody here would like to make a connection to heaven. I'm going to take one person and I'm going to give a nice reading. And for everybody else, like, pay attention to the things that are going to come through for her. And think about your own trauma. Think about the things that are kind of stuck in you and what that looks like, okay? So hard to choose the best way to get back into work and career. Right? And I do feel like that's a big structure for you in terms of being right. And that's the kind of feeling that I get, like you want to pick the right thing and have the right experience, because it feels like you've been in some low vibe ones before, ones that haven't served you, or even like offered you the way to really fully express yourself. And Jeanne, I feel like you are an expressive being. Like, it's really important for you to be creative in your conversations and even in the work. Like, I'm not sure what you do, but it feels multifaceted. With that, I feel like it's really important for you to tap into that creative passion that you have. I don't know if you're doing like graphic design or something like that, because it feels like it's very creative layouts, which feel like that's bright and shiny for you. Have you also thought about maybe doing some freelance stuff on your own? Because they show me that as well, like almost like you creating your own schedule, because it feels like having to report to someone doesn't always fill you up. It kind of annoys you. Does that make sense? So I'm wondering if that next step is really about you being creative in your freelancing and maybe offering some people that you know, like, look, I can do these things, and it will get you like kind of flowing and being able to layer your talents together, so to speak. And they're like, I also am like getting like a little bit of a clogged throat right now. So that throat chakra for you is creatively blocked. It's not being expressed. So expressing yourself, having that come out fully is really important. It's like trusting yourself, trusting your body, trusting your own wisdom, that you have the guidance within you, but you're not trusting yourself. This is all like a trust issue. They're just saying like this is all has to do with trust. And that is part of like that wound, that underlying quiet wound that kind of replays in different relationships. And very attractive to make your own schedule. I feel like it just would also really give you a feeling of empowerment too. Like you get to create your wealth. You get to create, the things that light you up. You get to, I just feel like that's really great. Beautiful. So I hope that this serves you today. Let me just tap into these things about trauma, because it's a big topic, and I know we talk a lot about different things around trauma. So I want to make sure that You're walking away with tools and things that you can actually implement right away. So EFT, tapping, emotional freedom technique. And so the man that delivered that from Sandy Hook is amazing. There's an app you can get for your phone. It works with children. It works for grief, anxiety, depression. They have all these weight loss. They have so many programs on there. Highly recommend it. It's a great app. And I use tapping, but in my own formula, my own method. But tapping, like tapping certain meridians to really awaken the different energy centers and to start to, like, this one really helps me feel grounded, like tapping on my head. It just gets me like in the physical because I can fly out so easily. Tapping on my chest when I'm really anxious. This is one that I use all the time. My friend Doug, remember you guys, I showed you this, the butterfly tap on the chest for anxiety. Beautiful. I didn't put on my list breath, but breath is really important too. And simple cycle breathing. That's from my Goddess You book. We talk about the cycle breathing technique. 5 counts in, holding for 5 counts, exhaling to the count of 5 again, nice and slow, and then pausing for 5. Just creating this movement. And you can go fast or you can go slow. Definitely try to go slow. Extend the numbers out so that you get the embodiment of your breath. That will ground you, and that gives room for healing as well. Trauma release through therapies such as a talk therapy, different types of therapies such as EMDR, really important for people that have trauma that they can't get to and it's really affecting their life. Guided healing sessions with someone such as me, going to someone that knows what they're doing in terms of releasing trauma to help you to have the semblance of who you are and to walk away feeling good and uplifted. Hypnotherapy, rewiring the brain, getting those great new neural pathways going so you don't replay the same patterns over and over again. Sounds great, right? If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. I'm happy to chat with you and to go a little further with you. Next week, I have a really amazing guest. Her name is Amanda Monares. And then on the 29th, I have another guest, Valerie Walsh. And I'm really excited to sit down and talk to Valerie. She wrote a book, Shattered to the Core. And we're going to be talking about grief. We're going to be talking some hard topics such as suicide, breast cancer. We're going to talk about personal illness. And then we're going to talk about path to recovery. So amazing topics, big stories. What you're going to learn is how to live your best life in all of these sessions, how to feel good, and how to go further from where you are right now. So I know what I know because angels don't lie. All right, guys, have a most beautiful, beautiful day.